Hello and welcome to another episode of A Pint of Perspective, Greene King's inclusion podcast. My name is Gary Clark Strange, my pronouns are he, him, and I'm delighted to be here to host another episode today where we're going to meet the wonderful Maddie.
Hello.
Welcome to Pint of Perspective.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. I'm very excited about this conversation. I'm going to start off by telling you that I got told when I was introduced you that you're a chatterbox.
Yep.
I don't know where that, if this is going to be true or not over the next 20 minutes.
No, it's true. Don't worry.
It's true. Okay, so
it's 100% true.
I'm looking forward to hearing lots of insight from you. So, Maddie, you work at Poppyfields pubs, one of our pubs.
Yeah. Poppyfields farmhouse inns, I think.
Farmhouse inns. How long have you worked there for?
About a year and a half.
Fantastic.
A year and a half, I think.
And you came to work for Greene King via a Mencap Programme.
Via Mencap.
Yeah.
So I was there for a year. And then basically the programme ended, but they kept advocating for me.
Great.
And then found Poppyfields for me. And then I met Barry.
Barry is the general manager.
He was the manager there.
Yeah.
He interviewed me and then I got the job. So
what was the reason that you were on the Mencap programme is you're diagnosed with autism and ADHD, is that right?
Yeah, basically.
And what was the, I guess, inspiration for you to join Mencap in the first place?
The idea was to find a job.
Simple,
pretty much.
Yeah.
So the idea was to find a job. And the idea of college and that kind of thing wouldn't have really made as much sense because I don't think the end part of it would have made much sense for me. I think I would have struggled. I've never been very academic either.
Okay.
And I think, like, my brother went to college and I remember saying to him, how's your assignments doing? Yeah, I'm doing about 8 at once. And I could not do that.
You couldn't see that?
I couldn't do it. I don't know how he does it. So Mencap was like half classroom sessions learning about life skills and then about 3 days work experience.
And what do you think that gave you in terms of what was your learning from that programme?
I mean, I know it sounds obvious, but experience in different workplaces.
Yeah.
And I met a lot of different people.
Okay.
And you really understand. I really learned a lot about the hospitality industry.
Great.
You know, and how to interact with customers, how to deal with other staff members, just a lot on communication skills. You really do learn a lot. You hear so many people saying experience is important.
Yeah.
But it really, really is.
You get it from there, right? And so what's your role at the pub? What do you do?
Front of house.
What does that mean?
So like serving customers basically.
Okay.
So I don't do bar work yet.
Yeah.
But
I like that.
Yet. Not yet. But I work mostly on the floor work at the moment, and that's going really well. So a lot of interacting with customers, basically.
And you've been working there for about a year and a half.
About a year and a half, yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna read something that your manager, when he was introducing you to us, this is one of the things that he said, that you came across quite reserved and shy, almost scared to be yourself. After a bit of coaxing and explaining the background. We fully got to see the real Maddie and the floodgates opened.
Well, when I say that I had an interview and then I got the job, basically what actually happened, like a longer version of the story, is I came in, was very, very shy and very nervous.
Which doesn't present today, right? This is
I'm
not meeting a shy person here.
No, because I'm a lot more confident now.
Where does that come from?
I think just working with Greene King. But basically, Barry, he was really, our manager, he kind of just said to me, just tell me what hours you want, tell me about yourself. And then, because he could sense how nervous I was. Yeah. And I immediately felt comfortable around him. Okay. You know, and then kind of the rest of it, doing the job, of course, you're a little bit nervous at first because it's a new job. But then over time, I met everyone and everyone is really supportive and it's amazing and it's really inclusive. And then I became really confident. And it's just amazing. Yeah.
Love it. So what are the challenges, I guess, that you face through your diagnosis with autism and ADHD? Because it's individual, it's each person, right?
Yeah.
So how does that play out for you?
So for me, for my autism, I'm very sensory orientated, for example. Okay. So like that can be so even when we came here to Manchester, I mean, I love it here, but when I got here, we were in the mall and there was so much to take in, like bright lights, smells, there's a lot to take in. Yeah. And then I kind of got used to it after a bit, after we went somewhere to eat and things, but it was a lot to take in. It's a big city.
So normalising that is
exactly.
is hard.
I have to, if it's a new place, it's a lot to take in. And then an example of my ADHD is I struggle to keep still.
Okay.
So like, this is why I have the bracelets on.
Okay.
Because I fidget with them.
You fidget.
I literally physically cannot keep still. I don't realise I'm moving. And mentally as well up here, it's constantly just 100 miles an hour. There's probably...
So you're already thinking about the next conversation or the next...
Yeah, I will try and do like 5 things at once. Don't try and do that. It doesn't work.
So multitasking is not right, yeah?
Multitasking is not right. Like, I'll be doing something with my mum, like helping her do a meal, and like doing a simple job, like I don't know, just cutting a vegetable and be like, so what are we going to do next? And wait, what are we going to do after that? And mum's like, hang on, we've only just started.
How do you manage that when you are, doing tasks within the pub and you're doing your job?
Yeah.
How do you keep that not under control, but how do you keep that at check?
You kind of have to you have to kind of see what's the most important thing to do.
Yeah.
So if you've got a customer complaint, and you've got a lot of other jobs to do, that should be the top priority because the customer comes first. So you have to kind of just figure out what's the most important. And sometimes this sounds really simple and it's not as easy as it sounds. Sometimes you do have to just take it one step at a time.
Absolutely.
Because if you look at everything all at once, sometimes that can be overwhelming and that can affect how I do my job.
Okay.
So sometimes it's literally just taking a step back and going, well, you've got this to do first. And then after that, you can see what needs doing next. Yeah. And then things tend to work out better from that way.
And ultimately, what I'm hearing from you is that you just want to do a good job.
Exactly. That's exactly. I don't want to do a bad job.
To you?
I want to keep the customers happy, honestly. And I want to keep everyone else happy at work.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm there to do. And a lot of the customers, I'm very familiar with them as well.
Okay.
Like, we have regulars who I see every week and they know me quite well. And I just want to keep them happy. And other people as well, all the other customers who aren't regulars, just want to see them happy, have a good time and want to come back. It is really fulfilling seeing other people happy. It's a simple thing, but it really is fulfilling.
Well, it is simple, but you're right. You are making other people happy or making them feel comfortable, and that's part of why you're there, right?
Yeah, and another thing that's really cool is so sometimes you have elderly people come in. And sometimes, if you think about it this way, not always, but sometimes people might not get out a lot or they might not know many friends. Like, that might be coming to Poppyfields, or a pub might be one of their only times to socialise.
Yeah.
So you really try and make an effort, to be
them.
nice and kind to people, have a conversation.
One of the things you said to me earlier on, just before we started the podcast, is that you class yourself as like an encyclopedia of autism and ADHD.
Literally, yeah.
What do you think could be the barriers to people who have got conditions like autism and ADHD getting a job or doing well? Because it's obvious you're doing well. You're showing us a successful person, which is fantastic. But what barriers could there be in place for people?
Greene King, in my experience, have been really positive. And my manager's been really positive. And I'm very lucky. But not everyone is like that.
Okay.
And I was talking to my mum about it. And sadly, not everyone is understanding about autism and ADHD. And I think we've come a long way. Don't get me wrong. We're a lot better than we were 20 years ago. But we've still got a long way to go. And I just think not everyone understands it and understands how it affects people. And I think there's a bit of a stigma around autism and ADHD. Like, people with autism can't talk. They have meltdowns a lot and this kind of thing. And people with ADHD are all energetic and they cause trouble. And those are just, like you said, it affects everyone differently.
Yeah.
You can't just make those assumptions if you don't know the person.
I met one person once who said, and you might have heard this before, when you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism.
Literally.
Because everybody
You've only met
is
one
unique.
person.
So I guess you talked there about things that I think people expect, the common traits like meltdowns, etc., to be of autism. How does it play out for you? Like, you've talked about your sensory reaction to things, but what else is real for you?
What else is real for me? Sometimes it takes me a lot longer, or it can take a bit longer to process information. Okay. And I learn things very, very visually and by doing things. I don't understand why people explain things verbally to me. Because I just don't, I can't. I just learn things so visually. Or sometimes just by showing me how to do it.
Okay.
So it can take me longer to process information as well. I have to actually think about things.
Yes.
And sometimes I can't make decisions very, very quickly. Like I'll kind of just, even if you give me 2 options sometimes, I don't even know why. Well, it's my autism. It's like my brain will just freeze and be like, and just kind of freak out.
How does that feel when you are faced with that? You know, sometimes, because I imagine working in a pub environment, it's busy at times.
It can be busy at times.
So you've got that busyness, the customers, and then you've got this reality of where you've got to make a decision.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It can be quite nerve-wracking.
Okay.
But soon, I guess you kind of get used to it because you have to make the decision. And you can't just stand there and be like, I'd usually just try and, if it's with a customer, try and just make the decision that I think is best.
Yeah.
That will lead the customer to be happy and get everything sorted out. Even if it ends up with me getting the assistant manager to help and then just watching to see what she does.
But asking for help is okay.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Because if you don't know what to do and I'm worried that I'm going to make the wrong decision or I'm unsure, then I don't want to risk that and make the customers unhappy or make them not want to come back. Sometimes it's best to learn and watch from someone more experienced. Yeah. And then you know better for the next time and you learn and you carry on and you never stop learning. It's true. You never stop learning.
Regardless, it's definitely part of it. I have to ask you about a story. Again, something your manager has told us about. Tell us about the leak in the toilet.
Oh, did he mention that?
I don't even know where this is going to go, Maddie.
You don't know?
I don't know the answer to this, but he's asked me to...
This is a genuine reaction. I didn't think he mentioned this to you, but clearly he has not held back. Well, thanks, Barry, for mentioning this.
Are you comfortable to share it?
He's earned himself another prank now. It was a prank.
Oh,
and
okay.
Just to be fair, and Barry knows full well that this was, and I'm going to name a name here, it was our assistant manager, Kath's idea, not my idea. Did I agree to help with the prank? Yes, but it wasn't my idea. And it's as simple as it sounds, really. As Kath said, we should put a leak in the toilet, like the vegetable, a leak, but tell Barry there's a leak in the toilet.
Okay.
And then he went in there.
Now I get it.
And he was not happy about it. His reaction was hilarious.
But you know what I'm hearing? Okay, that was a prank. Didn't know it was going to be a prank. But you're part of the team.
Yeah.
And I love hearing that, you know. I think especially there is stigma sometimes around people who come from programs like Mencap or who have got conditions like autism and ADHD that to integrate into a team is going to be very, very difficult for people.
Definitely.
What I'm hearing here is you're part of that team at Poppyfields. You're there. You're in it with the team.
Definitely. I'm definitely comfortable pranking Barry. He should know that.
I love it. What is the team like? Tell me about the team there. How do they support you?
I mean, I know it sounds, really basic for me to say that, but they're amazing. They're so nice and easy to get along with. Really supportive, inclusive. They're like that with everyone, not just me. They're amazing and they just make you feel at home there. Yeah. Which is what you want, really. You
want to feel welcome, right?
Yeah, if you're working there, you want to feel welcome. And everyone's just so caring and kind.
I hear this talk. I know you've talked about the fact that you don't feel academic, but the team want to really support you. And there's talk about them encouraging to do an apprenticeship when the time is right.
Definitely.
How are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling really good about it. It's definitely an opportunity to learn as well and try out some new things as well. So I'm up for it.
Great.
Because it'll just be more opportunities to learn.
And to do it when you're on the job as well.
And do it on the job, which is better because that's how I learn things, like I say, by doing things. So I just get more experience. So that's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that.
Where would you like this, experience with Greene King, but it is work experience? If I go back to the first question I asked you is, why did you go through Mencap? And it was quite an obvious answer, to get a job.
It was
You've done
to get
that.
a job.
You've nailed that. You're in. What next?
If I'm being honest, I'm unsure. I definitely want to stick at Poppyfields.
Great.
I think it's just as simple as getting better at my job.
Yeah.
And just learning more. Just learning more and getting better and better at my job.
And pleasing more customers, right?
And pleasing more customers and being the best that I can be. And, even getting more opportunities like this to make people more aware of
and that's really important, right? Because there'll be a lot of people out there, whether they're, people like yourself who have got diagnosis with autism and ADHD, or, you know, I've met your mum today, people like your mum who are encouraging their children to go and build a career. It is so important that we talk openly about these things, which is why you've come today and travelled from Northampton to Manchester to get here.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody, you know, who is maybe wanting to take that brave move to start a programme to get a job, but is feeling nervous and shy like you were 2.5 years ago?
I know it sounds simple, but it's going to be okay. And often the thought of it is a lot worse than actually doing it. And honestly, you can't really think too much about it, because if you do that, then that will only increase your nerves. Just take it one step at a time. I think you'll quite quickly know what's the right and wrong job. Well, not wrong, but just not right job for you. 'Cause if the people are supportive of you and you feel comfortable, it's right. And then if people aren't like that, then it's just not for you. And just because something doesn't go right doesn't mean that there aren't other opportunities. Like, don't let that make you lose hope. There's plenty of opportunities out there. There's lots of understanding people, even if you haven't met them yet.
Yeah.
But I know from experience that there's loads of lovely people out there, and there's lots of opportunities.
Perseverance is the absolute, you know, key that's coming out
and it's
here.
going to get better as well, because there's constantly more awareness about autism and ADHD and all forms of neurodivergency. So it's only going to get better, you know.
How do you feel about the, you know, specifically, I guess at the moment, maybe more so ADHD than autism is getting a lot of airtime in the media.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a good or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing that people are getting educated on it.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I only got diagnosed with it. So autism, I was diagnosed when I was about 5. ADHD was much more recent. I think I was nearly 18 or something.
Okay.
So really, I'm still learning. Like autism, I'd say I know a bit more about it just because I've been diagnosed with it for longer.
You've lived with it.
And ADHD is kind of, when I first found out, it was like a big thing for me, because I was like, well, this explains a lot of things.
Like what?
Why I can't sit still, why my brain's going 100 miles an hour, why I get distracted and struggle to focus, why I'm so like disorganized and sensitive.
Yeah.
And like all of these things make sense. It's really interesting as well, because I have autism and ADHD, which are basically, if you don't know, they're complete opposites. You have autism that's structure and routine, and then you have ADHD, which is like chaos and spontaneity.
So it's like they're battling against each other all the time.
They're literally battling against each other, but they have a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have to learn to manage that.
Okay.
You know.
And did the diagnosis of ADHD help you to manage that more? Because
Yes.
you put a label on it as such.
Definitely. It helped me manage it as well, because I knew more about it. It was an explanation.
Yeah.
And a very important one. And now I can look up and research and find out more about it. And I think it's good that people know more about it. I think people should learn about autism and ADHD.
And you coming and sharing your story and your, I guess, success today will absolutely have done that. I cannot believe this episode has flown by so fast.
It always does.
It does. They were definitely right when they said you were a chatterbox. I could talk to you for hours.
Yep.
But I think in the short time that we've been together today, I'm sure there are people out there who will listen to this back and who will have learned something new about autism and ADHD, but also be inspired by your story of success. So all I can say is thank you and keep being you. You are incredible.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.